You have the floor.
Great, it is your 100th press briefing.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I'm sure you're thrilled.
congratulations. How do you feel about that?
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, cheers.
Cheers. So, moving right along. I wanted to ask about the DC criminal code again. We've been hearing that some of the House Democrats feel like they got thrown under the bus a little bit by the president's decision not to step in on the effort to stop the overhaul, which is a lot of negatives, I understand, but I think you know where I'm going. So I wanted to know, did the president give them a heads up on the decision? Was there any sort of back and forth about it?
So first, let me just say that the White House notified the members at the House retreat, as you know, that was earlier this week, or it's still happening in Baltimore. So that's number one. Number two, I do want to lay out that the president and the administration has a very close relationship with House Democrats and Senate Democrats as well. We have worked together. The president has worked very well with the members on delivering bold, historic pieces of legislation in his first 2 years of an administration, and is very proud of the relationship that he has with them. And our teams are constantly in communication with them. And so I'll leave that there. This is a very strong, important relationship for all of us here, including the president. I also want to state that, look, the president supports D.C. statehood. That is something that you saw in his SAP for this particular D.C. crime bill. And if Congress sends him a bill making D.C. state, he'll always be sure to sign it, because he's been talking about that for the last 2 decades. But vetoing the bill headed to his desk now won't make D.C. a state. And so those are the things that the president has been very clear about when it comes to D.C. and their statehood. And so I'll leave it there. But as it relates to the House, as it relates to Senate Democrats, it is a very important relationship for us, and clearly very important. And with the Senate Democratic Caucus, as you know, when he met with them yesterday, he provided what he was going to do and made it very clear to them, and they had that discussion.
I just also want to ask, so, Biden and the Democrats have talked a lot about the need to stem, rising crime, but also the need to reform a criminal justice system that still disproportionately affects, Black Americans. So why not engage in some sort of compromise, or why not let the DC bill, because, the mayor vetoed the criminal code, but she also proposed some changes that she thought would have made the system sort of better on the whole.
So just want to be very clear here, and if you look at the DC bill itself, and I know that there was a little bit of I was asked a couple of questions of what else does it do besides armed carjacking, and I don't normally go line by line on legislation, especially legislation that we haven't introduced, but I did talk to the team, and we have a couple of things that I just want to lay out for all of you. And on what the DC bill does, it reduces maximum penalties for offenses like murders and other homicides, armed home invasion burglaries, armed carjackings, as I mentioned, armed robberies, unlawful gun possession, and some sexual assault offenses. And so, look, the president has been very clear. We need to do more to reduce crime, to make communities safer, to save lives. And that's why he put forth his Safer America plan that does just that we believe does exactly that. So the way that we see this bill, it doesn't actually reform policing practices. That's not something that it does. Reform like the ones the president has put forward at the federal level, about the executive order when it couldn't be done on the Senate side, moving forward with police reform. The president put forth a historic piece of an executive order to try to do what we can at the federal level. And so we believe that this bill does not actually do that.